And hello and welcome back to the OnlySP forum, new discussion talk show kind of thing here on Only Single Player. I'm Justin. With me is Shawna.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking a little bit about game length. Game length is a hot topic since the release of the Order 1886 a couple weeks ago, because everyone was up over their heads about the Order being a very short game, and this is before the game even released. A little information around the controversy. Before the Order released, there was leaks and other things like that saying that the game was around 5 hours, 6 hours long, when the developers said it was around 10, 12 hours. That alone is its own little issue. But a lot of people went to bashing this game just out of just because of its length. So that's what we're gonna talk a little about today. Just game length in general. Shawna, what's one of your favorite games of all time?
I'd have to say Final Fantasy IX.
I'd imagine that's a pretty long game.
Yeah. Either that or Legend of Dragoon. Both RPGs, both 4 disc long.
Yeah, I suppose we're, a bit more biased then, since we're probably big RPG players.
Yeah.
And RPGs, the longest games ever. But I think we can agree that long games don't necessarily mean good games.
Exactly.
I think a good example that I've been playing recently, I've been trying to finish up Evil Within. And that's a long game, and it doesn't really need to be as long as it is. It being sort of a horror action-y, sort of Resident Evil type game, and it's really long for what it is. It does not need to be that long. What they do in Evil Within is there's parts of horror, puzzle solving, and then parts of action immediately after. So it's very inconsistent, and it goes on for way longer than it needs to be. But generally, people have been blowing up this thing way out of proportion. Short games do not mean bad games. Have you played any games that you just don't like because they're short, that you wish there was more to them?
Not really. I'm trying to think. I've played short games, but they're short because they get to the point. They get to the point that they need to get, and if it takes just 2 hours to do so, then it takes 2 hours.
That's a good point.
If it's longer than it needs to be, then it's drawn out and not as interesting, and you're kind of okay, get to the point. And you may not even make it to the point because you get bored.
Right. There's lots and lots of good indie games out recently that are pretty short. Gone Home, I think, can be completed within 2 hours.
Oh yeah.
Brothers Tale of Two Sons, I think, is a 3-hour game. I think the Brothers developers actually recommend beating that game in one sitting. That's how short it is. And those games, Brothers, obviously won a good bit of awards. Gone Home, very good game as well. So it's a bit silly, I think, to mock a game just off of its length alone. Now, there is a thing our friend Reagan mentioned, because we discussed this on a previous podcast, and our friend Reagan mentioned something then where it's a good design technique is shaving 15 or so minutes off of a game, and that really would make a game. Have you played any way too long games that you know of?
Oh gosh,
way too long.
Yeah, but I can't think of any because there's quite a bit, but they do well to mask the fact that it's really long and too long by the mundane things you can do on the side.
Right. Just tediousness.
Yeah, it's just the tedious things, and you don't realize that you're just wasting time.
Busy work, basically.
Yeah. Some RPGs will do that. They'll make you go on side quests, and there you can pick up some backstory on something that's not really relevant, or um, to get what's one of those games? It's almost like an MMO without it being an MMO, like a single.
Right, where it's just like
It's like
stupid grinding and
exactly, yeah,
collecting useless items.
and RPGs generally do it well. But there's some RPGs and some games in general that are just like you could have done this a lot better, like a lot faster.
Yeah, there's a lot of busy work I've been noticing. I've been playing a lot of like other RPGs lately. What's it called? I forget what Kingdoms of Amalur. I tried recently. That has a lot of like tediousness, busy work, like side quests that have nothing to do with anything. So I've been having a hard time getting through that, and that's supposedly a really long game too. It being another RPG.
Right.
Anyway, and even the Dragon Age games and Mass Effects, they have those missions that they're just
Pretty
there to
yeah.
add on time to the game.
And it's also a matter of if you can accomplish the mission or not, which, does that constitute the length of the game? Because I could probably beat a mission in 5 minutes where somebody else would have to take longer. They keep dying. Devil May Cry is a very good example of this. There is a peak in the original Devil May Cry where all of a sudden you just can't beat anything. Like, it just all of a sudden gets really hard. And
It's crazy.
and I don't know if it was because of my age at the time and I wasn't really used to that kind of game, or if I'm correct and it just all of a sudden got ridiculous. You have to go back, retrace your steps, and that takes a lot of time. So the game itself is as long as it needs to be, but it feels so much longer because you're wasting so much time trying to backtrack and figure out what you did. So that also can kind of manipulate time and how you feel about a game based on that.
That's a good point, because the Dark Souls games are a good example of that. You can skip large portions of that game, of course, if you're good enough. It being an already horrifically hard game anyway.
Yeah.
But you can skip large portions of the game and get to the bosses that you need to get to beat the game. But I guess you'd have to play it in its length already to be at that point.
Exactly.
But yeah, so we've given examples. There are games that are longer than they need to be. And there are games that are short and really good. So there's already like we've already proven that this discussion is just like silly to begin with. I haven't played The Order. I don't think you have either.
Mm-mm.
But we do have a review on it on our site. Our reviewer James. He's given it a very, very generous score. He seems to enjoy it a lot, despite its length. So, if you're listening and you're one of those proponents for The Order and you say, "Oh, it's crap because it's too short," go ahead and check our review, check it out, see what you think of that, or even just play the game yourself and shut up.
Now
That's what I had to say.
is there. I don't know if there's a new argument that it's too short for it being the price it is.
Yeah, I feel like that's another matter entirely. That's sort of hard to like determine anyway. Games have been at that retail price for a while now, and
it's like,
but I don't think length. I don't think the time spent on something should be compared to its price. I think the quality of something should be compared to its price.
Yeah, exactly. I fully agree. Like, I could be completely wrong about this because I don't play these kind of games very often, but the games like the Call of Duties and well, really, I think it's just Call of Duty. I know Halo has a really good story behind it, so I've heard, and stuff like that, but aren't those single player campaigns really short?
They are. They're not. They're just a few.
Yeah, there's just a few instances, and then the majority of the game is just going in with a group you don't know and killing people for the billionth time.
Right.
And that seems to be like god of all games. Like I don't, and no offense to anybody who plays them, if that's what you do, fantastic. I couldn't do first person shooters till way late into my PC years. And after PlayStation 2, I haven't bought any consoles. The Wii is the last one I got. So I'm not that kind of gamer.
Right.
And I'm terrible at it. So I'm doing everyone a favor by not playing them. But my view is, you're playing a game and doing the exact same thing over and over and over again because you enjoy it. Fine. But that's all there is to that game. The campaign and the story are very, very short, but people will buy $80 worth of this game. How many of these Call of Duties are there now?
More than there needs to be.
all of them, the graphics might be a little bit better, the weapons might be a little bit better, but it's the exact same game, and they price it at the exact same price every time it comes out.
Well, the thing is with multiplayer games that the experiences are pretty subjective. You can play multiplayer Call of Duty for like 3 years, and it can be pretty different every day you play it.
Okay.
I can attest to that a bit, having played Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2 for a long time with my group of friends, and it eventually got to the point where we would still play the playlists and the game types the game provided, but private games and custom games, they were a big part of that too, where we could just make our own little game and just have fun with it.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
And so, well, you can't really make like rules and stuff, but we had our imaginations. So multiplayer games, they're sort of hard to group in pricing.
Right. Well, and that's fair because, I mean, it works, obviously. People are playing, an 8-year-old game. Like, Halo's 6 years old? The original?
Halo 3 of the original?
Yeah.
I want to say, 2002?
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so these are really old games that people are still playing them.
Oh, yeah.
So it's they're doing something right. I'm not dissing them at all. I'm just saying, the thing is...
No, yeah, I understand.
It's still a game that could be very repetitive in certain circumstances, but still dishes out quite a bit of money. And so this game being apparently really good, apparently the story's amazing. I know, James, our reviewer for it, like you said, gave it a generous.
Yep.
Because everybody hated on it for one thing.
Yep. It all came down to its length.
Yeah, which was 4 or 5 hours?
I think on easiest difficulty, speed running, 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, so that's easiest and speed running. So that's two things that people don't normally do.
Exactly. So there's I was about to bring up that there are tons of other factors that lend into the game length. Of course, you have if a game is this standard game setup where there is a beginning and an end to the game, then there's that to consider. There's the replay value of it, if there's any benefit from replaying it. Of course, most RPGs nowadays have multiple choice and different storylines that you can go through different playthroughs. Of course, multiplayer, that's sort of hard to put in with everything else. Even collectibles, stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of factors that lend into how long you'll actually be playing the game. As far as price goes, I'm really against the $60 price.
Yeah, with any game. I don't care how long it is.
Yeah, with any game. It can be worth it. Like I said, I played Call of Duty for a very long time. Having played only $60, I think $60 is a bit low for the amount of time I spent on it, but I still don't think
it should be $60.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about the price of video games in general later.
Yeah,
but relating to length, I think too many people relate it to other mediums of entertainment, specifically movies, and that's a really big no-no. I think you can't really, because a lot of people, you pay $10, $12 to go to the movie theater to see a 2-hour-long movie, and then boom, you're done. That's it. And so a lot of people sort of make some sort of comparison with that with video games.
Really?
So they should get a X amount of hours from $60.
Yeah.
And I was like, you shouldn't. I don't think you should do that.
No. No, I've seen quite a few movies where I'm like, okay, I want that $12 back.
Yeah.
Like,
and also another thing of that with movies is that you're paying $10-12 basically to see it early, because there's a bunch of negatives with seeing it in movie theaters because you're seeing it with other people.
oh yeah.
I'm against movie theaters as well, but
I have to be really excited for the movie to go. Otherwise, I don't want to go.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
I like to
yeah,
pause
exactly.
it if I get anxious about what's going on. I like to pause it, calm down, and then be able to start it again. I don't like babies crying. Like,
yeah. That's the thrill in movies. You don't get to pause it. You just got to deal.
yeah, no.
But one interesting thing I saw on the internet recently is like someone explaining their philosophy for price behind games. They said they'd be happy if they got an hour for every dollar they spent. So $1 1 hour.
Whew.
What do you think about that? If you paid for a $20 game and you got 20 hours off of it.
It better be a really good game.
Okay.
That's 20 hours. That's a lot of hours.
That's a lot of hours for, especially for, since considering most $20 games probably wouldn't be 20 out of the majority of, I'd say most $20 games are like arcade or indie games.
Yeah.
Or early access. I played I paid $30 for DayZ. I played DayZ quite a bit.
Yeah, but then you have to factor in community. What's the community doing for DayZ? Because DayZ standalone is not worth it. So it's like...
Yeah, that's another thing. If the game's like crap, then it's not worth it, definitely. Yeah, the game's... DayZ is still early access. Always will be.
It will never come out of early access.
But yeah, I mean, obviously it's all subjective anyway, so if everybody's getting up in arms about this crap, it's just play it yourself. Who cares?
Exactly.
If you're at the point in your like gaming life where you have to question how much money you need to spend, then you probably shouldn't spend the money anyway.
Exactly.
So I mean, just
wait till it lowers and then
find
out
it'll
for
get
yourself.
lower. If you're so unsure about games through reviews or whatever, just wait, or just get it anyway. Play it yourself. Make your own judgment. And just chill. Just chill. That's what I want the big message to come out from this whole thing. Is just it's not a big deal. It's really not. So we want to hear what you got. What do you want to pay about games? Does $1 1 hour sound good to you? I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I'll have to think about that more. We'll have to do another forum where we talk about game prices and stuff.
Definitely. I'd like to do that. But yeah, let us know what you think about the order, what you think about this whole thing that's been happening this past month. I think it's mostly died down now. Until another game comes out that's supposedly really short, but really good at the same time. But let us know what you think down in the comments below or on Twitter or wherever. I'm Justin Wessinger. With me, Shawna Beaston. This has been OnlySP Forum. Go play the order. Because apparently it's good.
Yep.
So thanks for watching, and goodbye.
Bye.